Okay, friends. So we are going to go over how to actually process 1099s in your QuickBooks file. So we are going to assume here that all of your vendors have been gone through and made sure that you are tracking 1099s. They have their tax ID numbers, their addresses, and their emails included in their vendor card. We're also going to make sure that your bank accounts and credit cards and the QuickBooks file in general is reconciled current. And if you have any information on getting your vendor information set up, we do have a prior video. You can check that out and get that information done. So once all the vendor information is done, once the bank accounts and everything in the QuickBooks file is reconciled, it's time to start doing your actual filing of your 1099s. So if we go into our QuickBooks file and we click on expenses and then vendors, it will take us to our vendor portal. And here at the top right-hand corner, you can see that there is a Prepare 1099 button. This button is not open all year long. It is only open during 1099 season. Therefore, this may or may not be visible depending on the time that you're actually watching this video. So after clicking on Prepare 1099s, you'll get the main window that will pop up to actually get you kind of started in the process. I have already clicked this button, so it says continue, but if this is the first time that you are prepping your 1099s for the year, it will say something to the tune of Prepare 1099s. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the button here, and this is going to take me to our 1099 portal. So it will walk you through, and you can either verify or modify or input, if it's the first time, information as you see necessary. So it starts out with our company information. So this is you as the payer, and this is how it will be reported on your 1099. So please ensure that all of this information is correct. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to click next. Okay, so here's the fun part, the mapping of the 1099s, and this tends to be the most confusing part. So there are two different types of 1099s. There is the 1099 miscellaneous, which you can see here, and there is the 1099 NEC, which stands for non-employee compensation. If you have any questions or need any clarification on any of this, it can be found on the IRS website. But we've also completed a blog post with a lot of details. So if you guys want to dig in on that, you can absolutely dig in on what the differentiators are between those two forms. So starting out with non-employee compensation. So these are people that you pay services for within the thresholds of the 1099s. So for the sake of this test file, we are going to pay Amy. We have already paid Amy's Consulting the fees for their services that they've provided. So we're gonna scroll through this list here, and we're actually gonna look for the branding and advertising accounts. And here we go. So these are the services that we have paid other companies within our business. Sometimes customers will have tons of clients. You're paying, artists, you're paying subcontractors, you're paying, anybody who's providing you a service will actually be included in this list. So don't be afraid to add any accounts that may be service-based, whether they have hit the threshold or not. So this is any account in your chart of accounts that you want to have included as your non-employee compensation and put onto your 1099 forms. So rent is going to be rent. So we will scroll through and find our rent expense. Okay, so we have our rent expense. So there are also some other options. If you have contractors doing sales for you, that would be included in your 1099 NEC and or your 1099 miscellaneous. In the other payments, there are also some very specific types of expenses that need to be reported on 1099s that do not have thresholds. So for example, royalties. If royalties, anything over $10 is going to be reported in your royalties line item on your 1099s. Any medical payments at all. There's also the gross payments paid to attorneys. So any legal fees at all, whether it's $1, $1 million, will be selected here. And then you could just put in your legal expense, which I'm not sure actually exists in this file. So I'm going to uncheck that, but any legal expenses that will be paid to an attorney is included in this other section. So let's go ahead and do next. We have all of our accounts selected that we're going to use. Okay, so we have our 2 contractors that we're going to be 1099ing. We have Amy's Consulting. We have her address, her tax ID number, and her email. And you'll notice that LA Property Management actually has the contractor name as Bob Smith. That is because Bob Smith is actually a sole proprietor. So the 1099 will go to Bob as he is doing business as LA Property Management. So everything looks good here. There's no red. If there's any issues, it will pop up in a red box. So that will tell you that if something needs to be fixed. I'm going to go ahead and select next. And now here you can see we have Amy's Consulting. She is going to be getting a 1099 NEC for the $3,100. The difference between these two is actually a reimbursement that was paid to her in one of her invoices. So this is the total amount that was categorized to the advertising and branding account that we listed above. And we're not actually going to be 1099ing her for reimbursement. So her 1099 will be $3,100. And we can see here, Bob Smith, total payment amount for rent is actually $3,250. And you can see here that that is actually going into the rents box on the 1099s. So if we go ahead and do finish preparing 1099s. Okay, so currently the 1099 function is not available until January 1st, which is a good thing because we want to make sure everything is reconciled through the end of the year and all payments are posted and all that fun stuff is taken care of. Once this module is fully open and you have the ability to prepare, this window will actually show you the options to either have the system e-file your 1099s, or you can print and mail them. There are 2 separate fees. If you decide to e-file, you will literally click the e-file button and it will take you to an option that gives you the ability to review your 1099s one more time. And then you just click the e-file button and QuickBooks will actually e-file everything on your behalf. And that's it. That's all you have to do. You just click the button and you are good to go. So if you guys have any questions or any concerns or anything along the way that you need support on, feel free to reach out to us. We are always here to help. And good luck on filing your 1099s.